Welcome to day 5 here at the Yoyogi Gymnasium. It is now the knockout stages of the team event, and it's the women's last 16. And on table 1 we have an encounter between the Ukraine and Korea DPR. And as you can see, the players now entering the arena. And there on screen you see the lineup for the last 16 match. Playing for the Ukraine, PESOTSKA Margaryta, and playing for Korea DPR, Lee Mong-sun, Lee Mi-gyong and Kim Yong. Players are being introduced to the crowd on table 3, and we still await the players for table 1. Great event so far here in Tokyo. The Yoyogi Stadium has been a wonderful venue. It was used for the World Championships back in 1981. Yours truly, a young coach working with the England team on that occasion, delighted with the performance of England on that occasion, a bronze medal. Times have changed, England now in the second division, but looking good for promotion this year. Wonderful effort. They're still in the hunt for promotion, so good luck to the England team. The championship division consisted of 4 groups of 6 teams. In each group, the top 3 teams qualified for positions 1 to 12, and the bottom 3 teams playing off the positions 13 to 24. The advantage of finishing first is that you get a bye through to the quarter-finals. So awaiting the winners of this match in the quarter-finals is China. It's a pretty awesome task. China, of course, the top 5 female players in the world, currently from China. Liu Shiwen currently ranked at number 1, Ding Ning at number 2. And the players being introduced of the 2 teams playing on table 2. Chinese Taipei against Holland. And now walking in the players who will be playing on table number 1. There's the flag of the Ukraine. And their opponents from Korea DPR, and their flag prominently displayed. Korea there, DPR, finished second in the group. They lost to China 3-0, beat Romania 3-1, Poland 3-1, Slovak Republic 3-0 and Austria 3-2. The Ukraine, on the other hand, lost to Hong Kong 2-3 and Germany 3-0. They then won the remaining 3 games against the Czech Republic 3-1, Serbia 3-0 and Croatia 3-0. And so now, having been introduced to the crowd, the players will shake hands with the officials, with each other. They will go to their respective corners and prepare for the first match. There they are, shaking hands with the officials, then with each other. Amazing support here in Tokyo for Korea DPR. Last night we had a men's match between Korea DPR and Korea Republic. What a game it was. Korea DPR coming back from 2 matches to 0 down to win 3-2 to the delight of their supporters, and I'm sure they'll be hoping for a similar result here. And there they are, the top of the hall. They're gathering already. It was a wonderful occasion last night. The supporters from Korea DPR, as well as flying their own flag, they were flying the United Korea flag. They were applauding points won by the Korean Republic players. Obviously they were firmly behind their own players, but it was an excellent spectacle. So now final words of wisdoms from the respective coaches before the players come out to the table. There we have Ri Myung-sun, ranked at 23 in the world, and her opponent there, PESOTSKA, she's ranked 43 in the world, 22 years of age. In fact, both players 22 years of age. Ri Myung-sun makes her way out to the table. She's in fact the only player from Korea DPR who is ranked in the world. In order to get a world ranking, you have to get out onto the circuit, acquire computer points, and work your way up. The players from Korea DPR don't get out of their country as often as a lot of other countries. And in fact, Ri Mi-young and Kim Young, the 2 players who we'll see in action later in this match, are indeed unranked. So the umpire spins the coin to decide who has the advantage of serving, although some players do actually prefer to receive serve, or indeed choose one end or the other. And there she is, the right-handed topspin player from the Ukraine. Last 32 of the World Championships in Paris last year. Last 32 at the Olympic Games in London. No mean achievement. Players will just have a 2-minute practice before the match commences. Just gets the shots into the groove, get the feet moving, get a feel for the ball on the bat. Nothing too strenuous, just a gentle warm-up. And there the player from Korea DPR, Ri Myung-sun, as you can see on the screen, 22, world ranked at 23. Again, a right-handed topspin player. So Ukraine was seeded 3rd in the group. They finished 3rd. Korea DPR were seeded 2nd in their group. They finished 2nd. So both teams performing as expected. So Ri Myung-sun, defensive player, drops away from the table, uses backspin. Rest assured, when I refer to her as an attacking player, she does have a wonderful attack, but She will use that sparingly in comparison to the amount of time that she'll drop away from the table and use backspin. And there we saw her springing into action with that forehand topspin. So important for a defensive player to have the ability to turn defence into attack. And that's exactly what we saw there with Rhee. No spin on the ball. PESOTSKA thought there was backspin. She lifted the ball. And of course, having misread the spin, she lifted the ball off the end of the table. And it's Rhee Myung-sun who takes the first 4 points. Good smash by Rhee Myung-sun. A great counter block from PESOTSKA. But it was Rhee who went on to win the point. And now leads by 5 points to 0. This time she misses the forehand smash. It just caught the top of the net. It was there. It was there for the taking, as they say. 5-1. Rhee in the lead. Overhitting the forehand topspin. Rhee Myung-sun. A little bit of side spin on the push from Rhee. PESOTSKA not quite controlling the spin. The two other players in the Ukraine team today, Bilenko and Gapanova, both defensive players, so certainly PESOTSKA will have the opportunity to practice against defence. But early indications are she's not completely relaxed against it. She's misread a few spins. And there, that was the no spin, the float ball from Rhee. The push from PESOTSKA pops up. No spin there, the ball pops up, she's in, and the smash. That was trademark defence of the highest order. The float followed by the smash. The backhand topspin off the end of the table from PESOTSKA. And a very useful 5-point lead now for Rhee. She's bouncing around. She's delighted with the situation so far. 8-3 lead.
8-4.
In the match against Hong Kong in the groups, PESOTSKA beat Jiang Huan, which was a great win, 3-2. And in fact, she only just lost in the deciding match at 2-2 against Li Ho-ching. So she's clearly in good form, but she's 4 points down here. Certainly having problems controlling the push. That one again popped up quite high, and it's now 5 game points for the player from Korea DPR. Good backhand topspin, took the pace off the ball, brushed up the back of the ball. More spin than speed. Clever variation, but still 4 game points for Rhee. And there it is. Rhee takes the first game, 11 points to 6, as both players return to their respective coaches. Players now back at the table for the second game.
Second game. Ukraine to serve.
First game
Double.
to Ri Myung-sun. 11 points to 6. And I must say that Pesotska wasn't quite as strong against backspin, certainly in the first game, as I thought she would be. As I mentioned, her two teammates who are playing today are both defensive players, so she'll have plenty of opportunity to practice against backspin. Of course, it's a completely different game playing a defender than it is playing an attacker. And of course, what's a little bit formidable for the Ukraine is that the two Korea DPR players who'll feature in the next two matches will both have the opportunity to practice against Ri Myung-sun, so they'll be very familiar with the backspin game. They'll practice a lot against backspin, so it's pretty reasonable to assume they'll be strong against the defensive player. And Pesotska misreading the spin. She thought there was backspin on the ball. She lifted. There wasn't the backspin to lift, so the ball goes off the end of the table. And it's now 3 points to 0 in favour of Ri. And again, she can't pick the no spin and the heavy backspin. No spin on the ball, she lifts. Here we go. No spin, and then she lifts off the end of the table. Good deception from Ri. Varying the point of contact between bat and ball. Going underneath it with a fast accelerating wrist to generate the backspin. And then going through the back of the ball to generate no spin. And Ri doing well there. Pesotska recovered. The rally became topspin against topspin. But it was still the player from Korea DPR who came out on top. Oh, it's a good backhand topspin by Pesotska. She worked hard in that rally. She was prepared to push as well as topspin, wait for the right opportunity. There's the push, and here's this fast backhand topspin. Out wide to Ri's backhand. Good angle. Point to the Ukraine. Clenched fist from Ri, punching the air. Big match for both these teams. A place in the quarterfinal at the World Team Championships. It's a massive achievement.
1-7.
And at the moment, Pesotska is struggling to break down this stonewall defense of Ri Myung-sun. She's also having a few problems picking out the spin. And again there, she popped the ball up high with a push. But what she did do well there, Pesotska, was react to the smash. She blocked it back well, anticipated the direction. And it's now 7 points to 2 in favour of Korea DPR. The the backhand hit off the end of the table, and Ri Myung-sun leads by 8 points to 3. Service error from the Korea DPR player, and a further 6 points has progressed, so the players are entitled to towel down. Ri takes the opportunity to do so, compose herself after the service fault, and it is 8-4. Oh, good forehand topspin by Ri Myung-sun. Kept a little bit low, dropped underneath the bat of PESOTSKA. And that's 9-4 in favour of Korea DPR.
10-4.
Shakes her head, the Ukraine player. She hasn't found an answer so far in these first 2 games. She's 10-4 down, 6 game points for Ri.
10-5.
There it is. It's the second game to Ri by 11 points to 5.
Time.
And so the umpire calls the players back to the tables. Delighted to say that I've been joined by Richard Prowser in the commentary box. Richard, of course, was the architect of the fantastic success that the German men's national team had a few years ago in both Olympic and World Championships. And of course the great player who is here performing well, Timo Boll. I have to say, Richard, the first 2 games that I've... PESOTSKA, bearing in mind she has 2 defensive players in her team, I thought would be stronger against backspin. She's struggled so far.
Yeah, actually, she's really struggling a bit there. But I think also the style of defense of Rio is a little bit different, relying a little bit more of no spin, and especially from her forehand defense, not that heavy backspin as Bilenko and Gapanova is using, and maybe that should be the reason why she cannot read the spin too well there. Good backhand topspin there. That's not too bad sometimes to change this spin and speed, not only relying on this forehand topspin.
Again, it's the no-spin ball from Ri. PESOTSKA thinks there's backspin, she's lifting, there's no backspin to lift. And she's probably done that 10 times already in this match. Misread the spin.
I'm sure we will see this later on. Bilenko and Gapanova, they rely so much more on the heavy backspin than they rely on the no spin.
2-all.
It's this typical, let's say, created in Russia style of defense.
Good smash there by the Ukraine player. 2 points each. An attacking error by Ri. She's attacked well so far.
Yeah,
Hasn't missed many.
especially after a good service there. This high toss backhand service, not very usual in table tennis, but some defense player used to do this.
Net. Don't drop under the table, okay?
The umpire just
2,
pointing
3.
out to Rhee that she has to throw the ball from above the table. She can't drop her hand below the table.
Net. 2, 3.
This time it was heavy backspin.
And it's interesting because it's not that easy to produce heavy backspin with long pips. This is a new style of defense player. They can change the spin when pushing a bit, even with a long pimple.
A well-constructed point there by PESOTSKA.
Speak a little bit about the technique of PESOTSKA. I mean, the hand is moving very nice, very smooth. What I think, the right leg is a little bit too much in front. That causes her trouble when she really wants to swing at the ball. You see, always she's coming with the right leg in front. That means she can get a topspin with very nice control, but it gets difficult for her to really get the topspin going in a fast way.
Interesting to see Rhee coming right across the forehand side to play with her backhand. Clearly more comfortable with the backhand defensive shot.
Many players, they like to do this. It's not that easy for them to defend with the forehand side.
5-all.
And we've seen that before. The service of Rio is really good, difficult to read for the opponent. Also changing the service, a little bit upspin, a little bit downspin more.
And PESOTSKA now just beginning to read the spin a little bit better. The rallies are longer and a few errors creeping in from Rhee.
She feels also from the long pimple now the spin a little bit more, relying there that she's building up the game through the middle and backhand side.
5-7.
And a pushing error from Rhee. Interesting to see whether we'll see the high toss backhand service.
We've seen that before, and she's really changing it on a very high standard. It's like short, and that she can do this ball also long, so very much service variation.
Classic defensive skills there, no spin, push, the ball pops up, and then the smash. Very little spin on that chop, up goes the ball, in with the smash.
And again, the major mistake from technical wise was that she didn't open the side. She could have taken the right leg back, then it would have been easier to follow the ball, and the ball wouldn't dropped out high.
This time the error coming from PESOTSKA. Indeed, the Ukraine coach now calls timeout. 2 points on the run for Rhee. PESOTSKA now with her 2 serves to come. They can certainly talk about the type of service.
This would be an idea. I mean, sometimes also for the attacking player, not too bad to go for service variation in a way, to go for a direct long service, to have the first ball attack then after. But altogether, I think she's doing now much better than in the first 2 games. Being a little bit more patient, reading the spin more carefully. feel she's, to my point of view, a little bit standing too upright, especially against defense. You shouldn't never underestimate the fact that your footwork as an attack player has to be also very good in terms of moving backwards and forwards. These little steps are sometimes even much more difficult than these long steps what you usually see when two attack players meet each other.
And so the 1 minute timeout is over. Each player is entitled to 1 timeout during the match, so Ukraine now have used theirs. Korea DPR still have their timeout up their sleeve.
And some players, they need more than 1 timeout. Again, the nose spin, and this time you could really see that there was no backspin inside the ball. You also can hear it. The ball dropped out a little bit like faster out of the racket.
And it also wasn't that high, Richard. I was surprised she took on the smash there. Again, no spin. The push from PESOTSKA. The ball pops up in the air and rees in like a flash. There she goes, bang.
And you see very good placement also when she's doing this attack shot by Rio. Whenever she's attacking, she's not attacking too often. But when she's attacking, she's really winning the point because of very good placement there.
Again, favouring that high toss backhand service. I watched the Republic of Korea team, Seo, who's ranked 8th in the world, the defensive player. She used exactly the same service.
Exactly.
A defensive player, high toss, backhand serve.
And Kim Kyung-ah, from before she now retired for South Korea, she's also using this service. So it's quite common around in these, especially defense players.
So of course, Ri now has won 5 consecutive points. It was 7-5 in favour of PESOTSKA.
Again, the nose spin gave her this 11-7. This nose spin caused her big troubles.
And the scoreboard on the screen confirms that was a pretty straightforward victory for Ri Myung-sun. 11-6, 11-5, 11-7. A 3 straight game victory. And Korea DPR now lead by 1 match to 0.